Hi, Jerome from Trailblazing Wine TV. I've got something a little bit different this week. I'm actually with Tim Chafor at Chafor Estate in Gawcott, and this week I'm combining the sort of weekly hints and tips to help you get the most enjoyment out of your wine with an offer, because Tim just on Saturday released his first ever vintage of sparkling wine made in the traditional method. So this week I'm talking about how to make sparkling wine in the traditional method, and it all starts in the vineyard. So here we are in Tim's vineyard. We're looking at the grapes here, and the key thing is you can't produce fantastic wine out of rubbish grapes. So here we are with the Pinot Noir in Tim's soil. And Tim, what's your soil like around here?
We've got Jurassic limestone with flinty clay on top.
Yeah, so fairly similar to what you'd find in Champagne, really.
Yeah.
So this is very important. We're looking after the vines, and Tim has, for his sparkling, you use Pinot Noir,
Pinot Meunier and
Chardonnay. So the classic Champagne varieties. So we'll go into the winery now and see how it's all made. The grapes are harvested in Tim's vineyard in October. The grapes are then put into baskets, so they're not. So the grapes are handled very carefully, so as not to squash the grapes. Then put into the press here for the crush. The grapes are then moved. The juice is then moved into the stainless steel tank where the first fermentation happens. So that's in there. So cold fermentation. After the first fermentation in stainless steel, the wine is then bottled in here, and then yeast and sugar is added to create the second fermentation in bottle under cap. Now, the wines then stay in the cellars for a minimum of 18 months, but with Chafor's wines, they're 2 years, which is longer than the requirement for Champagne. And what happens is you get a second fermentation, a gentle second fermentation in bottle. And over that time, you then get yeast deposits in the bottle, and these yeast deposits need to settle in the neck to remove them before sale. So this is a riddling machine. So after 2 years of rest, the bottles are put in the riddling machine, and a quarter turn happens every week. And in the end, finally, the bottle ends up vertically, and all the yeast and sediment is in the neck of the bottle. The bottle is then put into a very cold liquid of brine. The cap's open, and you get a little capsule of the yeast. The wines are then recapped, put on their sides, and rest until it's ready for bottling and release of sale. The dosage to top up after the cap has gone is very low, and that's basically to ensure that what you're getting with Tim's wine is a real taste of the grapes from the vineyard. You can actually adapt the flavour quite heavily by the dosage, but Tim's idea really is to ensure that the wine is a true reflection of his estate, and it really is. So that's the process, and now I'm going to taste the best bit to taste Tim's wine.
Yeah, a little video, yeah. Cool.
So should we keep quiet?
No, certainly not. We need to be authentic.
So we have to say, "Oh, lovely, delicious."
Not after you've tasted it. You can always tell by people's faces if they like it or not, can't you?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
That's a nice sound.
Yes, good sound.
Definitely Friday.
Yeah.
There you go, this is our first vintage, 2013.
Right.
Our vintage cuvee.
Yes.
It is mainly Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier, and a little bit of Chardonnay. So actually less than 30% Chardonnay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So it was grapes grown in 2013, and we've had about 2 years on the lees aging. Second fermentation in bottle, then 2 years on the lees.
That's
So this is Tim's first only release last Saturday, of the Chafor sparkling wine, vintage 2013. So all the grapes were harvested in 2013. It's a blend of Pinot Noir, Chardonnay and Pinot Meunier, so the classic Champagne grapes. Now, it's a really beautiful clear colour, tiny bubbles. The smaller the bubbles is a kind of a mark of quality, really. So it's, you can see that it's a traditional method production. The nose is delicious. They're real sort of, you've got really kind kind of English apple, but also yeast. There's a sort of almost an apple pie type note on the nose. It's kind of creamy, but there's still that sharp, fresh apple flavour. Very, very English indeed. On the palate, it's beautiful. The flavours on the nose are reflected on the palate. You get a very sharp apple flavour, backed with a creamy texture. So really soft, gentle moves, very gentle on the palate. A lot of flavour, and the flavours last for a very long time. So it's a serious contender versus champagne. Very, very good. It would work extremely well with seafood and shellfish, sort of trout, that kind of thing. But equally as an aperitif, it's delicious. So it's a fantastic example of a super premium English sparkling wine, and I'm giving you the opportunity to be one of the first to taste Tim's wine at the end of this video. So cheers.